Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solutions. So today we are starting with AR module in EBS, that is a business suite. So let's first see basically what is AR. So basically AR stands for accounts receivable, the balance of money due to a firm for goods or services delivered or used but not yet paid for by customer is basically known as accounts receivable. So what is the concept of account receivable is the money is due from the customer to the supplier. So supplier is booking that due as an account receivable in the books. So basically this is accounts receivable. Then there are some points in accounts receivable like account receivables are an asset account on the balance sheet that represents money due to a company in the short term. As accounts receivable we have discussed, it's a money due from the customer to the supplier. So in the books of supplier it is asset account on the balance sheet that represents money due to a company in the short term. Then accounts receivable are created when a company lets a buyer purchase their goods or services on credit, obviously. Otherwise, if it will be paid in cash, then why we will book as money due or outstanding from the customer. So basically, when goods are given to the buyer uh, as on credit, we book accounts receivable. Then accounts payable are similar to accounts receivable, but instead of money to be received, they are money owned. The strength of the company's AR can be analyzed with the accounts receivable turnover ratio or days sales outstanding. So there are two ratios which helps to know the strength of the company's AR, that is turnover ratio, receivable turnover, and days sales outstanding. Fine. Then a turnover ratio analysis can be completed to have an expectation of when the AR will actually be received. So by using this ratio, we can know the strength of company's AR and what will be the expectation at the time when we can receive this AR in actual. Fine. So accounts receivable are an important aspect of a business fundamental analysis. Accounts receivable are a current asset, so it's measure company liquidity or ability to cover short-term obligations without additional cash flow. So they are short-term assets. Then fundamental analysts often evaluate accounts receivable in the context of turnover, also known as account receivable turnover ratio, which measures the number of times a company has collected on its account receivable balance during a accounting period. Further, analysis would include assessing day sales outstanding. As we have seen in the previous PPT, that these two ratios are very important to know the strength of companies AR, that is accounts receivable. So we are discussing that accounts receivable turnover ratio helps us to know what, and day sales outstanding helps us to know what. It helps us to know the average number of days that it takes to collect payment after a sales has been made. So these two ratios are very important in AR. So this was a short description, an overview of the accounts receivable, which we are going to see in EBS, that how the configurations are done, how the setups are done in account receivable, what is required to be done here, and then how transaction and receipts are performed. So first we will see all the setups, then after that we will see the transactions and receipts thing. First, so let's start with the setups here. So first, beginning with the setup, the first thing which we need to have to perform the AR in the application is to need a responsibility. Responsibility is nothing but it gives you the what I can say is the role or access to perform the AR task. If you have the responsibility of AR, then only you can perform its related task. So basically, there are three things involved here. First, you should create a responsibility related to AR. Then you should assign that responsibility with some profile options to a dedicated user to whom you want to perform this task. So we will see how you can create a responsibility, assign the same to the user, and what are the profile options which we need to give here. So here are some of the profile options I have listed which is required to be given. First to our operating unit and GL data access set, it is nothing but the providing the access of operating unit and primary ledger to the user by giving this profile option here. And the next two, default country and asset additional data access sets, are not mandatory in nature, they are optional. Like if you want to give a default country in your profile option, you can give. And additional data access set is nothing but your secondary ledger. If you are working with two ledgers, primary and secondary both, so primary ledger is mandatory, then secondary ledger also you need to give here. But if you are dealing in only primary ledger, then you need to give only GL data access set. So first two in any case are mandatory, that is operating unit and GL data access set. Rest two are optional in nature. So this is the profile options. So we will go one by one. So first we are going to see the responsibility creation, then user, how to assign it, and creating a profile option too. So let's go to the application and first cover these steps there. So let me first log in to my application. So let me quickly log into the application. My user is e-business and just let me log in here. Okay, now first thing we should know here is that for creating a responsibility, one should log in as a system administrator. Fine. So let's go to the navigator and search for system administrator responsibility. Only user with a system administrator responsibility can create an responsibility. So let's just select it. Now you need to go to security and you can see responsibility is coming. Just go to responsibility and define. So it will lead us to one Java form. Just open it. Now here you can see the page from where you can create a responsibility. So what I have done, I have just logged in, took the responsibility of system administrator, gone to security, and under security I've gone to responsibility and define. So this page has been opened for creating a responsibility in AI. So what are the information you need to give here is mandatory, like the fields which are faded one, yellow faded one are the mandatory fields which you need to fill here, mandatory to fill. Like you need to give a responsibility name, application, like we are in receivable, so you need to give receivable. Responsibility key, it should be unique one. Menu is very important because whatever menu is you are giving, a responsibility will have that access, that task which are covered by that menu. Then data group, and then there is request group, which is very important for the reporting purpose. So this is all information you need to fill here. So I can create a new responsibility for you, but I have already created for AI. So I'm just navigating or giving the overview of that responsibility, what I have created already here. So for finding the one which I have already created here, already available here in the instance, is you need to go to this find icon and just let's find out the responsibility of AR. So it is already serial one, that is Receivable Vision Operation USA. So I'm just using this only. So like the name here is given Receivable Vision Operation USA. In a similar manner, you can give a unique name or whatever name you feel like to give here for your responsibility. Then you need to give application here as receivable, as we are working in the receivable. Then you need to give a responsibility key. And if you want to add in description, you can add. Then available from Oracle application. Then menu, I have uses the shaded one only. AR Navigate GUI. Then menu is very important because all the access which we are giving to the responsibility is given to this menu only. So whatever task or roles or whatever I can say responsibility should have, a person should have a responsibility, and in that responsibility what duties or what job it can perform or task it can perform is determined by this menu only. Fine, so this is very important. Then data group is will be standard, application is receivable, and request group receivable all, and application is receivable. And effective date, it will take the date by default in which you are creating it. So it is very old one, it is 1997 is coming. It is effective from that date, 77, 1997. So this way you can prepare your responsibility, and after creating a responsibility you need to save it. You can just press Control S, or you can save it from here as well. So this is how you need to prepare your responsibility. For creating a new one, just click on his new and give all the information like receivable, whatever name you want, like AR demo, and then application you will going to choose it as receivable. Then whatever responsibility you want, like I'm giving AR demo. Description I'm not giving. Then menu AR Navigator UI, you can search for that menu here. So here it is. Then give a data group as standard and request group receivable. So it is coming receivable or application receivable. Okay, so this is how you can create. Okay, I have skipped here application, so let me give it. Application will be receivable. Fine, so this is how you can create, and after just creating, press Control S or just save it from here and it will get saved. So this is how your responsibility you can create. I have shown both. I have shown how you can create from the scratch, and how and I have also overview, or I have given the overview of the responsibility which was already there of the receivable vision operations, which I'm going to use further here. Then after just creating a responsibility, the next thing, I'm not saving this because I'm going to use vision operations already created one. So for demo purpose, I have just shown that how you can create from the scratch. Now the next thing, if I will move to my PPT, here you can see after creating a responsibility, we need to assign the same to the user. Now while logging, I have shown that my user is e-business. So to e-business user, I'm going to give this responsibility. So how you can do the same, you need to be here in the system administrator responsibility only. Go to the security, go to user, and go to define. So first we need to search for the user to whom we need to give this responsibility which we are creating for the AR. So mine was e-business. So I'm searching for that user. You can see it is coming. After selecting that user, what you need to do is you just go to this field of responsibility, select any row, and just click on this add icon and add your responsibility. But for my user, I've already added the Sable Vision Operations USA. So I'm just showing you. So for finding the same, if you're creating a new, you need to click on this new icon. But for finding the one which is already existing, just go to this find icon and search for the responsibility. I have given here is Disable Vision Operation. So here it is, search for it. You can see it is already being assigned to the user. So this user has this responsibility. So now what the next step is, after giving the responsibility to the user, is to give the profile options. Then this responsibility can be used by this user uh, without any issue. So this is how you can assign responsibility to the user. You have to just go to the user page, find for the desired user, and just click on this add icon after selecting the responsibility field here and add the responsibility. Fine. So this is very easy. Now we will move to the profile options, third step here in the PPT, create profile options. So for create profile options, I have told you that there are two mandatory and rest two are optional. So I will just navigate you to all the profile options and see how you can give the profile options here to the responsibility. So for profile options, you need to go to again Java form, be in system administrator role only, and then you need to go to profile, system. Now here you need to search for the responsibility. So our responsibility was Disable Vision Operations USA. So first select your responsibility here. Here it is. Now search for the first profile, MO operating unit. It is nothing but our operating unit which we are assigning here. Okay, so here it is, MO operating unit is selected and find. So here you can see vision operations are the operating unit already attached. These are already done. Like I have already created responsibility. I have already assigned it to the user. In a similar manner, I have already given the profile options. I'm just navigating and showing you how you can do it. So first you need to give the responsibility. Then you need to search for the profile options, operating unit, and here you need to give your operating unit. Like I have given vision operations by operating unit, you need to give your operating unit here. After that, the next profile options, just go to this profile option field, select it, and go to this find icon and give the second profile option for GL data access set, which lets us to give the primary ledger to the responsibility. So let's find it by GL data access set. Select and find. So here you can see I have already given here. So here you can see I have already given my primary ledger. I have created it with the name of Vision Operation USA. So what you need to do is you need to come here to the profile of GL data access site and give your primary ledger here, which you have created as a part of general ledger. Fine. So give it here, your primary ledger. Very important. So these were the two operating unit and GL data access set, which is very important to give in the profile options. The rest two are not mandatory. Default country and the SLA data access set, that was additional data access set, that is nothing but the secondary ledger. So if you want to give that too also, so you need to follow the same step. Give your responsibility, then search for the profile Like responsibility we were using here was receivable vision operation. So follow the same step for that too. Also, I'm just showing the default country one. The another secondary ledger, you can follow the same step. It was default. Here it is default country. So find. Okay, so as I've already said, it is not a mandatory one, so I have not given any country as default. It was an optional profile value. If you want, you can give any default country, like if you want United States as this receivable vision operation responsibility for USA, you can give USA here. So this in a similar manner, you can give default country here if you want. It is optional. And in a similar way, if you have a secondary ledger also, you can go for secondary ledger also. So two were mandatory, two I have said optional. So going back to my PPT, here you can see we have seen operating unit, GL data access set, two mandatory one. I have given my operating unit and GL data set there, and default country is optional. And if you have secondary ledger, you can give the same also. So basically, this was the profile option. So what we have done till now, we have logged into the application. After login, we have taken responsibility of system administrator. Only the system administrator person with this responsibility can create a new responsibility, like we are creating for the AR. So first taken the system administrator responsibility, then creating a responsibility. We have created responsibility for receivable. After creating this responsibility, we have assigned the same to the user, and after that we have also assigned the profile values in our responsibility. And but for the profile options, you can see on the screen: operating unit, GL data access set, default country, and additional data access set. First two are mandatory. So we have done this much till now. So these were the basic steps for starting with the AR. So basically we are doing this all the setups from the beginning. So these were the first setup. Now moving towards the next setup after creating the responsibility and all, the next setup is of the system option. So what happened when you have created the responsibility, assigned the same to the user, and you have given the profile values also, you will be able to see here. You can go to this switch hat and you will be able to find your responsibility which you have created. You can just search for that responsibility and you can see here receivable vision operation is coming. In a similar manner, your responsibility will be displayed here. Once you are done with the creation of it and assigning to the user and profile value, you can go to the switch hat and take that responsibility here of the AR, because now we are moving towards the setup of the AR. So first of all, we need this responsibility which we have taken. Now the first step in the responsibility of AR is the system options. So first step is the system option here in the AR. So in the system options, you define our accounting methods of accounting flex field, whether you use header or line level rounding, and control the default operations of the auto invoice and automatic receipt program. System options also control how receivable calculate tax on your transaction. So basically, when you will move to the instance and you can go to system options by following the navigation I will show you here. You can find some tabs like accounting, system options, some of the tabs like accounting, miscellaneous claim, transit, customer, revenue management. So these are some of the tabs, and there are some of the options available according to your need. You can select this option for further usage. Once you set the options here, it can be used as a default for the further usage in the application of AR. So basically this is very important. So here are various options available. You can select these options, enable or disable these options according to your requirement, your user's requirement, your business requirement, and you can use that as a default in the further AR application. So system options are very important. So let's go to the application and see what is the system options, what are the tabs there, and what are the options we get there in the system options. So let's go to the application now. Quickly going to the application, and this is my Java form. I have already taken the disable vision operation USA responsibility. Now in this responsibility, what is the navigation for the system option is you need to go to the setup. Under setup, you can see system, then system options. So as I have already told you, you can see various tabs like accounting, transaction, customer, claim, miscellaneous, revenue management. These are the 5 tabs with the various options in it. So actually the one responsibility which I am using here, I have already done all the setups. So I'm just navigating what all setups is done. It is done as per my requirement. You can set this option as per your requirement. Fine. So in accounting, when you will come to the system option, you can see your operating unit displaying here with the your primary ledger. Fine. So you can see both your operating unit and primary ledger will be defaulted here. The thing which you need to do here in the accounting is you need to give your various account. You can give like 2 is mandatory, realize gain account and tax account are coming in yellow faded color. This is mandatory to fill in here in the system options. Rest are not mandatory. You can fill it or you can leave it if you want. But the 2 account of realize gain account and tax account you need to give here mandatory. It is mandatory to give. Fine. So what will happen when you will give all the accounts here? It will get defaulted whenever you are going to use this account in the further AI application. So here what you can do, you can just go to this fields one by one and can link your account like I have given. I have given like here my company, my department, account, currency gain, sub account and products. So all the segments will be available. You can go and you can give your GL account related to your realized gain account here. Fine. In a similar manner for rest of the account and cross currency rate type I'm using corporate. Then there is various another options here like you want create detailed distribution, automatic journal import, header level rounding. So if you want this option you can enable. If you don't want you can just disable these options. If you want automatic journal import, you need to enable this first. If you want rounding at the header level when you are creating transaction and all this detail, then you can enable this option. You want detailed distribution creation here, so you can enable this field so that it will ask you for the detailed distribution. Now the next thing you can see here which is coming in the mandatory is days per posting cycle. So this lets you process the transaction you are posting in smaller group to ensure that you do not run out of rollback space during posting. Like for example, your accounting period is say of 30 days. So you can give here as 17. If you will give it 17, it will take it as a 2 cycle. Fine. So basically, depending upon the accounting period you are having and what posting cycle you want. So like I have accounting period of say 30 days and I'm giving here like I have given 40, but say I'm giving here 17. So for 30 days, days per posting cycle is 17. So how many cycle it will take? It will take 2 cycles for it. So it is like that. Fine. So in my case, it is 40. So I'm not changing it. So I've given an example of 30 days accounting period. And if you want, you can give here as 17, 16, whatever, and cycle will be as per your accounting period and the days you are giving here. Fine. So this is days per posting cycle. In my case, it is 40 cycles. Fine. So I've given a very easy example. Like if there is 30 days and you want year as 70, then it will take 2 cycle. Fine. So it is clear, I hope. Then moving to the trans and customer. So you can see here various options. Here various options coming. Some are mandatory, some are optional. Basically, it depends upon your requirement, what you want in the options. Like in transaction type, you can see various options are coming like allow change to printed transaction, allow payment of unrelated transaction, allow transaction deletion, show billing number. So if you want all this thing while creating your transaction to get displayed, then what will be the text invoice printing option? Here you need to give the format for printing. Then document number generation level, when document should generate the level when saved, when completed, or you don't want it to generate any document number. So you can select null. I have given when saved. So when you will save, it will create a document. So it is document number generation level. So basically, you can enable or disable this option for the transaction level here. Fine. So I have enabled all this option here. You can just select as per your requirement. Then there is late charges. If you want to access late charge, you can enable this. Now the rest fields are like not mandatory, so I'm not more focusing on it. You can go and you can set as per your requirement, like transaction, interest invoice transaction type, debit memo charge transaction type. So these are nothing but the transaction type. So first you need to create a transaction type in the application. You can come back to the system option and give your transaction type here. So we will see in our session that how you can create a transaction type. Then the interest charge activity, penalty charge activity is nothing but the receivable activity. So we will also cover in our session how you can create a receivable activity and how you can come and give the same here. So I'm leaving this for now, moving to the auto invoice. So when you are loading your invoice automatically, there is automatic invoice options. So you can just enable all this. This will come by default, maximum memory log file message level. This it will get defaulted. But if you want, you can change it also. Now purge interface tables. Um, this program allows you to delete rows from different interface table for a given load request ID. So it is very important to enable this. Then there is tuning segments. This helps increase performance of auto invoice. It is the segment most frequently accessed by the auto invoice. So what will be the most you can say frequently used segment in the auto invoice? You can just give here what will be the anti-flex account system item territory country. So in this tuning segment, what is the frequently used by the auto invoice? You can just come and give here. Fine. So this is basically for options for the auto invoice. You can come and you can give here your required fields as required by the user. So tuning segments is nothing but it helps us to increase the performance of auto invoice. It is the segment most frequently accessed by auto invoice. You can come and give here. Now, if you will move to this customer thing, you can see automatic customer numbering. If you want automatic site numbering, you want create reciprocal customer, you want to enable this all feature, you need to just enable this checkbox and this will be activated. If you want automatic customer numbering, site numbering, and create reciprocal customer, and also you can just enable this option. And then grouping rule name here coming as default. This this is how to group when you are getting data from the external system. So grouping rule is used for that. Like if you're getting from data from the external system, how you're going to group the same. So what will be the grouping rule? So I have given the default one already existing one here. So these are various options. Now the claim tab. It is basically used for Oracle Transport Management (OTM) module. Not very important here. You can just see logbox and post quick cash claim handling options are coming here, and you can set if required. But it is basically used by OTM module. Then there is a miscellaneous tab with the various other options like split amount I have given. So the split amount, what it do when you run any report, it will show how many invoices are above and below it. So it will split the invoices on the basis of the amount you are giving here. So basically, split amount is used for that. Then discount basis will be that line only. Then auto cash rule set, how to automatically apply your receipt. So you can give auto cash rule set for that, like I've been standard. Then there is days in days sales outstanding calculation. So what it helps to calculate that average number of days it takes credit sale to be converted into cash, or how long it takes the company to collect its account receivable. So it is day in day sales outstanding calculation. You can give height of limits per receipt. Then other options are here like print remit to address, print home country, discount on partial payments. So if you want this to be get printed, like what is your remit to address, we will see how you can create a remit to address in the AR in the upcoming session. So if you want to print that thing, you want to print home country, you want to allow discount on partial payment and all, you can go for this options and enable this. Like now the next thing is like minimum refund amount. When you will going to refund to a customer, when the amount will be 5 or more. Then what will be the credit card payment method? Then bank account payment method. So you need to give all these things here in your accounting options. Then auto receipt. Then what will be the invoice per commit, receipt per commit. So what is invoice per commit? Like enter the number of invoice you want the automatic receipt program to process before saving in the invoice per commit field. And similar for the receipt per commit also, enter the number of receipt you want the automatic receipt program to process Before saving in the receipt per commit field, you need to set the receipt per commit and invoice per commit system option to a large to avoid intermediate save in the program. So basically, when you can save the program to avoid the intermediate saving in the program, you can go for invoice per commit and receipt per commit and give here the number after which savings will be done in the auto receipt creation. Basically, it is for auto receipt. Then the next thing is like chargeback due date. When you will create the charge, we will see the chargeback concept also in a session. So what will be the due date for it? Then what will be the default country, source of territory, application rule set. Application rule set, there are three. You can see line and tax prorate, line first tax after, prorate all. So line first tax after, if you go for this one, you need to apply to the open line item and amount first, then apply any remaining amount in the following line order like tax, freight, and then late charges. So how you are going to apply? So it is the application rule set. So first, if you will select this line first and tax after, so what it will do, it will apply to the open line item amount first, and the remaining amount will be applied in the order of tax, then freight, then late charges. In a similar manner, if you will go to this option, line and tax prorate, it will apply a proportionate amount to the open line item for each line and apply any remaining amount to freight and then to late charges. Fine. Then prorate all, it will apply a prorate amount to the line, tax, freight and late charges in the proportionate way. So you can go for any of the three application rule set as required. In my case, line and tax prorate has been used. So this is miscellaneous, and revenue management is for defining key processing, configuration and integration and accounting options at the application level. It is for revenue management. So not very important here. So basically the important tags are like accounting, transaction and customer, and miscellaneous. So you can come and you can just give your system options so that these options will get defaulted for further using the AR. So this is system options basically. Fine. Now, after system options, the next thing which we are going to see here, the auto accounting rule. Very important. So define auto accounting rule to specify how you want receiver to determine the journal ledger account for transaction that you enter manually or import using auto invoice. So when you enter a transaction in the AR manually or you import it by auto invoice, from where the journal ledger accounts will get defaulted. It will get defaulted from this auto accounting rules. There are some of the types which it gives in option when we are going to the application and when we are going to the auto accounting task, you can see there receivable creates default accounts for revenue, receivable, freight, tax, unearned revenue, unbilled receivable, finance charge, auto invoice clearing account using this information. So there are some of the accounts available like revenue, receivable, freight, tax, unearned revenue, unbilled receivable, finance charge, and auto invoice clearing. For these accounts, you can go to auto accounting rule and give your journal ledger accounts there. And what will happen? It will be defaulted in the further use from this auto accounting rule while creating the accounting and all. So basically, what we are doing in the auto accounting rule, we are creating a default account for the accounts like revenue, receivable, freight, tax, unearned revenue, unbilled receivable, finance charge, so that when we will further use these accounts like in creating accounting and all, from here, from auto accounting rules that from this auto accounting rules, the journal ledger account will get defaulted while creating accounts and all. So for creating accounting and all, very important to give here auto accounting rules for these accounts. Fine, so you can go and you can give auto accounting rules for this account that what will be the general, how your general ledger account is going to be defaulted in the further usage. Like we will define revenue. Let's go to the application and we will see how you can do for the better clarity. So basically it is very important before entering transaction in receivable to go to this auto accounting rule and give the rules so that your accounts get defaulted. Your journal ledger accounts get defaulted from this auto accounting rule in the further process of the AR. Fine. So let's go to the application and see the auto accounting rules there. So the navigation for it is, you need to go to the setup transaction. Here auto accounting is coming. Just go to there. Now you can see your operating unit will come as default here. Whatever the operating unit you have given, it will default here. Now type, and you will select the type. You can see various types of account like auto invoice clearing, bills receivable, factored bill receivable, freight receivable, remitted bill receivable, revenue, tax, unbilled receivable, unearned revenue, and unpaid bills receivable. For these types, you can create auto accounting rule here. So these are limited, like it are 11 to 12 types available here, for which you can give a default journal ledger account here. Like let's create one or two auto accounting rule here. Like if I am going to create for freight, so I will select freight. Okay, so actually it's already created. Okay, let me just try to find the same. Okay, I need to re-navigate. Okay, fine. Yes. Going to auto accounting. Let's just find the already created one. So if we are creating for freight, so what you can do, operating unit will be defaulted. You need to select your type. Then for your segment, like when you are creating a charts of account, whatever segment you have given, all will come here. So what you need to do, for each segment, you need to specify from where your account will be pegged. Like you have various options available. Like if you come to table name, it will give sales representation, site, standard line, transaction type. So from where you want your company segment to pick your uh, journal ledger account. So you can give site. If you will like see it in this exam, in this freight, the one which I have already created, constant is coming. So if you want, you can just give constant, like whenever you will enter a freight, what will be the port combination? 01 for company, port 30 for department, account will be 7220, sub account will be 0000, and product will be 000. So this will get defaulted while creating accounting, and so while entering the transaction, it will get defaulted from auto accounting rule for this freight. This code combination will come. Fine. So basically what we are doing, for each and every type here in the auto accounting rule, we have seen 11 to 12 types are available. So for each account, you can come here and you can give the constant value, or you can go to this table name and give the field from where you want your specific company segment or department segment, account segment, sub account segment, product segment, whatever segment available in the chart of account, to pick your GL account from there. So basically this is very useful uh, for defaulting your GL account basically. So there are various options, like if you will, if I have not selected here constant, I have given site. So what it will do at the site level, when we will see how we can create a customer, we will see how we can create a customer site. So at a customer site or standard line creation, we will see how you can create it. You can create standard line, and we will also cover how we can create a transaction type. So there, if you have specified any account code, so it will fetch, or it will default company segment from that thing. Like I have given site here, say. So it will fetch company segment from the site. Whatever the company segment there you have given at the site level, at the customer site level, it will pick that in a similar manner for the rest of the segment also. So if you want, you can give any site standard line transaction type, or there are sales representation. So what will happen if you will give these as an option here, it will pick your segment from that field for that task. Or if you want, you can just fix a constant value also. So whenever freight will come, this constant value will be picked up. Fine, so it will get automatically default. So basically, our auto bundling rules are helpful for some of the types so that your journal ledger accounts get defaulted in the further process. So this is how you can create your auto bundling rule. So this was freight, but and these whatever the thing you are fixing here like site or constant, you can change the same also. Like you have given constant here 01, but while using in creation of the transaction, this 01 you want to change as 02. You can do the same. It will allow you to do the changes there. Fine. So like I have given one freight. Now let's see receivable also. That how receivable auto bundling rule is given. So you can see for again receivable also constant is given. Fine. So whenever receivable account will come into play for creating accounting or giving the transaction and all, this GL account for each segment will get defaulted. The code combination which will get defaulted for receivable will be 01, 000, 1210, 0000, and 000 for the product. So this is how the GL accounts get defaulted. In a similar manner, let's check for revenue. So here in the revenue, you can see for company, constant 01 is given. Department, it is giving sales representation. So whatever in the sale and for the account, transaction type. So when you will create a transaction type revenue, standard line revenue, whatever you are giving there for the segment accounts, product or department, it will take that value from this field, transaction type and standard line. It will default the segments from that field. And for the rest company, it will take 01, and for sub account, it will take 0000. So this is how you can fix your rule, auto bundling rule here. I hope it's clear. So this is how you can create your auto bundling rule. Then let's check one more, like tax. In tax, you can see one additional tab also, taxes. So if you want, you can fetch tax code from tax this account segment and sub account segment from this tax code as well. Basically, taxes is used. You enter this option to use the tax code when determining your tax account. So you can use tax codes for the tax type, and for the rest, constant is fixed. So in this similar manner, you can create accounting auto bundling rules for these various types which are already coming. So this is dedicated towards this type only, which you can see on the screen. For these types, you can create auto bundling rule. Basically, what we are doing, we are just fixing from where all the segments of the charts of account will take the GL code. What will be the GL code? How it will generate a GL code, from where the data is picking up, like it is constant, so it will take constant, or it is taxes, it will fetch the data from taxes, standard line, transaction type, whatever you are given. Fine, so this is auto bundling. It is useful when you are creating any transaction receipt or when you are running the create accounting program. So what is the code combination it will take for these types? It will take the one you are fixing here in the auto bundling rule for these types. Fine. So this is auto bundling rule. Now the next thing is transaction source. So basically transaction source is like if you are importing your transaction source or you are manually entering your transaction. If you are importing your transaction or you are manually entering your transaction, what is the source of it? Like transactions identify the source of external transaction to import into a Oracle project using transaction import. So what is the source? Like you are importing something from the outside, external transaction you are importing here. So what is the source of that external transaction? For example, if you define the transaction source payroll to identify the expenditure item imported from an external payroll system. So there are two types of source, manual, which you manually enter, and there is imported, which you import from the external thing. So what is the source of it? Whether you are creating transaction manually or you are importing it from some external transaction. So for that purpose, transaction source is used. So there are two types of source, manual and important. Let me just show you. So you can go to setup transaction sources. So here you can see I have already I can search for the already created one. So let me search one manual and one imported one. So here you can see operating units by default is coming, and type there are two types, manual and imported as discussed. So if you want to create a manual one, what is the difference between manual and imported is you need to give a name, and for manual only batch source tab will be activated. You can see other auto invoice option, customer information, accounting information is faded because it is not useful for the manual. When you will give type as imported, this three tab will also get activated. Fine. So let me show you the already created source here. Okay, it is not aligned with me. Let me just re-navigate. Hopefully it will allow me now to search. Yeah. So let me take any, let me search with manual. I hope it will give. Okay. So you can go for this manually entered one. So here you can see how it is created. Operating unit is coming, legal entity is coming, name given manual. Sorry. Name given manual, type is manual, and rest three are not activated because not used in manual type source. Batch source you can give description, can give effective. Then if you want to activate this, activate automatic batch numbering, you can give automatic transaction numbering. If you enable this, you need to give the last number, after which you need to create your automatic batch numbering and transaction numbering and other information like copy document number to transaction number. If you want to enable this, enable. Allow duplicate transaction number if you want to allow this, enable. Copy transaction information to credit memo, generate line level balance. So basically depends upon the information what you want, you can enable this option. Fine. So the required one I have, which is important and required, I have enabled this, like I have activated, I have created enable automatic batch numbering, transaction numbering, and generate line level balances. Fine. Rest is you can skip. This is not mandatory. Whatever is required, you can just go for that. Fine. And let me give you one example of imported one also. So this is, you can see here all the tabs are coming. So batch source is same. In auto invoice option, you can give like when you are automatically going for auto invoice. If any invalid line is coming, so what is the option? You need to reject the invoice itself. So you can go for reject invoice here late in a close period. If you want to reject it, reject. Grouping rule default. We have already discussed that if you are taking a transaction from the external thing, then how you're going to group your information, then payment detail, defaulting hierarchy, create clearing, allow sales credit. So these are the options created while importing from the source, different source from the external source. Then customer information and accounting information is nothing. This is how to take your customer information and accounting information while you are importing, like you're going to use value or you're going to use ID. So this is nothing but like there are some informations available at customer and accounting information like sold to customer, bill to customer. So when you are importing this, how to take this customer and accounting information like from value or ID or none if you want none. So this is important to fix while importing. These are the three tabs while importing from the external thing. You need to come and fix your options here as required and the transaction source. So you can use two types of sources, manually and imported. In a session, we will more focus towards the manual only. So in manual, nothing. You basically you need to activate this and give automatic batch numbering and transaction numbering and give the last number. So this is very basic information which you need to give in the transaction source when you are creating manual. And we are going to use manual only. So this is transaction source. So know from where your transaction is coming. What is the source of your transaction? Now let's move towards the transaction type. So we have seen and discussed in the auto counting rule the transaction type is there from where you can default your GL accounts also if you're giving transaction type there. So what is transaction type? In creating the transaction first, we have transaction type like it is invoice or whether it is a debit memo, whether it is a credit memo, whether it is a chargeback. So you need to create this type of transaction type here in the AR. It is mandatory because while creating a transaction, it will ask for the type as well, that what type of a transaction it is which you are creating in the instance. So first you need to create a transaction type. So let me go to the application and show you how you can create a transaction type, and this transaction type help us to determine whether your transaction entries update your customer balances and whether receivable post these transactions to the journal ledger. So it is very important because while creating transaction, it will ask for your transaction type as well. So you need to give that what is the type of it, whether it is a normal invoice, whether it is debit memo, whether it is a credit memo, what is the type of the transaction basically. So let's go to the application and let me show you the already created one. I've created a credit memo. I will navigate to you and let's create one transaction type also. So the navigation for it will be the setup transaction and the transaction there is a transaction types. So when you will open to this, when you will come to this page, you will see your operating unit will be defaulted. Rest name like I'm creating transaction type as say it is for demo, so I'm giving demo TT type transaction type. Now I need to give a class. So what is the class? What is the type of the transaction you are creating? Like I'm creating transaction type invoice. So I'm taking invoice. What is the status open? I need to open this transaction type for use. Then the start date is taking is today's day, open receivable post to GL. Then there is natural application and over application, which I will talk about it in few seconds. But before that, what is the creation size? Obviously positive sign. Then also you need to do a printing option. You want to print or you do not want to print this transaction type while printing. And here you can see the accounts are coming: receivable account, revenue account, unbilled tax, rate account, clearing account. So from here, when you will give your account here, fine, it is asking for alias. So when you will give your accounts here, like for receivable account, you are giving something here in the transaction type, and at auto accounting level under type receivable, you are giving there as transaction type. So what will it will take? It will come to this transaction type, and whatever account you are specifying here, it will default that thing there, as you have given in auto accounting rule your transaction type. So in transaction type, this is the account, so it will pick your GL account from here. Fine. So this is what we have done in auto accounting rule. So you need to come here and specify all the accounts, and after specifying all the accounts, you need to save your work, and this is how it will get created. So before moving forward, what is natural application and over application? The natural application only an over application. So natural application refer to the type of application either positive or negative that a transaction required to become closer to zero. For example, invoice has a positive balance. So to reduce the balance due, you need to create a negative application such as receipt. So it is like you have created invoice of say 100 and you are creating receipt for it against it as 100. So it is coming closer to zero or it is coming zero only in this example. So this is natural application. You have booked the invoice for 100 and you are receiving the amount as 100. So this is natural application. Now what is over application? Over application is to over apply transaction using this type. Like for example, you have invoice of $400 and you are booking receipt against it as $500. So it is over applied. So it will reverse the sign from positive to negative. So basically, what is the difference between natural application? It's like invoices of 100, you are booking receipt of 100 or 90 or 80. It is like natural application. But over application is like you are booking more than invoice. Like you have invoice for $400, you are booking receipt 500. So it is over application. So you can go and you can just select whether this transaction type will be allowed natural application or it will be allowed over application. You cannot check allow both the options here. You can allow only one. If you are allowing that, you cannot allow this. Fine, only one can be checked, error will come otherwise. So this is how your transaction type you can create. Let me just clear all the record and show you the already created one in the application. So let me find the already created one. Let's take the debit memo, credit memo. This is the type you can create here. If you go to this class, you can see the various transaction type. You can create invoice, guarantee, deposit, debit memo, credit memo, chargeback, bill receivable. These are the transaction type. These are the class for which you can create a transaction type. Fine, so let me just search for one simple invoice, the transaction type, how it is created. Let's take this one. Okay, let's take this debit memo. Why it is not reflecting here? I don't know. Let me just refresh it. Okay, and now let's find the same. Let's take this debit memo. So yeah, here you can see one created, already created one. So it is for the debit memo transaction type. So what I have done, operating unit will be defaulted. You need to give a legal entity. You need to give a name to your transaction type, like it is given here, PR debit memo. Then class, like it's debit memo or credit memo, or you are creating the chargeback, or you are creating for the invoice, simple normal invoice. So you can give a class accordingly. It is for debit memo, so it is given debit memo. Then you need to give a status as open. Then only this transaction type will be open to use. Then date, then all the options like natural application only you want, post to GL you want, open receivable you want, and other options as well available. You can just go for it, but you need to remember the natural application or over application only one can be selected, not both. Then sign, it is created with any sign, but it can be with positive sign. Basically, debit memo used to increase the liability and credit memo to reduce, so you can give the sign accordingly. Then printing option, you can give, you want to print this transaction type or not. And then if you want to give term, you can give terms also here. For payment terms, it is payment terms. We will cover it in the session separately. Then here in the accounts, you need to specify the accounts as well. Receivable, revenue, and tax has been specified. If you want, you can give unbilled and freight and clearing unearned revenue account also. So here you can give the accounts as well. And after all that information, just save the work you have done. So this is one example of the transaction type. So basically what you need to do, you need to give a name, you need to select a valid class, you need to open, you need to give a status as open, give a sign, give a printing option, and enable all the other options available here as per the requirement, and give the accounts. And just save the work, and your transaction type will be ready for use. Fine. So this was the transaction type. So let's quickly recall what we have done today is we have seen what is account receivable cost. Then we have started with the responsibility. For creating responsibility, I have told you that system administrator responsibility is necessary. You can take system administrator responsibility, and after taking that responsibility, you need to create responsibility in AR, assign the same to user, and give the profile options as well. The profile options we have seen, like operating unit, you need to give GL data access status, like primary ledger, you need to give default country, you need to give, if you have secondary ledger, you need to give that also in the profile options. Then when you will do all this thing, you can go for switch hat, and you can switch the responsibility in AR for further AR setup in the application. So in the AR application, first thing you need to give is the system options. There are various options available which you can go and just enable and disable as per the requirement. Then we have seen auto accounting rule. There are various type available there. 11 to 12 types are available there, like revenue, receivable, freight, tax, etc. for which you need to default accounts. So how your accounts will be defaulted, you need to set there in the auto config rule. Then we have seen transaction source. There can be two transaction source, like manually or imported. So what are the options in imported you need to give, and what are the options you have manual you need to give. We have seen that. Then we have seen transaction type, like while creating a transaction, it will ask for the type, like what type of transaction you are creating in the application. So we need to give that whether it is an invoice, debit memo, credit memo, chargeback or so. So you need to create transaction type for each transaction, like you need to create transaction type for invoice, for debit memo, credit memo, chargeback separately, and give all the accounts there and all the options there, which is required to be given. Some of them are mandatory, some of them are optional. So basically, depending upon the user requirement, you can just fix the or do the setups of the transaction type so that you can use the transaction type further in the AR. Fine, so we have seen all this today. So I think we should stop for today, and we will continue in our next session. So thank you for joining.